In the heart of Chicago's bustling Loop District, where skyscrapers pierced the gray Midwestern sky like jagged teeth, stood the Grand Tower Hotel. It was a gleaming monument to luxury, its marble lobby echoing with the footsteps of the elite business tycoons, celebrities, and politicians who jetted in for conferences or illicit weekends. The hotel's façade shimmered under the neon glow of Michigan Avenue, but behind the scenes, it was a machine fueled by the sweat of the invisible, maids, porters, and kitchen staff who kept the illusion alive. Elena Vasquez was one of those invisibles. At 22, she had the kind of beauty that turned heads, dark hair cascading like a river over her shoulders, olive skin from her Mexican heritage, and eyes that held the quiet fire of someone who'd seen too much too soon. But life hadn't been kind to Elena. Born in a dusty border town in Texas, she'd crossed into the U.S. as a child with her mother, fleeing a father who drank away their dreams. They settled in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood, where murals of revolutionaries adorned brick walls, and the air smelled of tortillas and exhaust. Her mother worked 2 jobs until cancer took her 3 years ago, leaving Elena with a mountain of medical bills and a high school diploma that meant nothing in a city that chewed up the poor. She dropped out of community college after 1 semester, unable to juggle classes with the graveyard shifts at a diner. Now, she pushed a housekeeping cart down the Grand Tower's endless corridors, her uniform a starched blue dress that clung uncomfortably, marking her as expendable. The job paid minimum wage, $15 an hour after the recent hike, but tips were rare. Guests like the ones in the penthouse suites didn't notice the women who fluffed their pillows or scrubbed their toilets. Elena's days blurred into a routine: clock in at 7 a.m., strip beds stained with who knows what, vacuum carpets that trapped the secrets of the night before. She shared a cramped apartment with 3 other immigrants, sending half her paycheck back to relatives in Mexico. Dreams she had them once, maybe becoming a nurse, helping people like her mom. But reality was a heavy boot on her neck. On her first day, 6 months ago, she'd met Marcus Hale, the CEO of Hale Enterprises, the conglomerate that owned the Grand Tower and a dozen other properties across the Midwest. Hale was a Chicago legend, 55, silver-haired, with a jaw like a chisel and eyes that could freeze you in place. He'd built his empire from nothing, a foster kid turned real estate mogul, featured in Forbes for his ruthless deals. But whispers in the staff lounge painted a darker picture: lawsuits settled out of court, employees fired for insubordination, women who vanished after crossing his path. Elena first encountered him in the service elevator. She was hauling linens when the doors opened on the executive floor. Hale stepped in, his tailored suit screaming old money, phone pressed to his ear. "No, you idiot, crush them. Buy out their suppliers if you have to." His voice was a low growl, laced with that Midwestern flatness that hid sharp edges. She pressed against the wall, invisible as always. But as the elevator descended, he glanced at her name tag. "Elena, new here?" "Yes, sir," she mumbled, eyes on the floor. He chuckled, a sound like gravel under tires. "Keep your head down, sweetheart. This place eats pretty girls like you for breakfast." The doors opened, and he was gone. But from that day, Hale seemed to notice her. He'd bark orders when she cleaned his office suite: "Missed a spot on the mirror, girl. Do it again." Or, "These towels are scratchy. Get better ones." His tone was always laced with disdain, as if she were a bug he'd deign to squash later. The other maids warned her. "Stay away from Mr. Hale," said Maria, a veteran housekeeper with calloused hands. "He's got a temper. Fired Rosa last year for spilling coffee on his desk. Said she did it on purpose." Elena nodded, but inside, resentment simmered. Why did men like him get to treat people like dirt? She bit her tongue, needing the job. Bills piled up: rent, utilities, the loan sharks circling from her mom's debts. One wrong move, and she'd be on the streets. Weeks turned into months, and Hale's treatment worsened. He'd summon her specifically for menial tasks. "Elena, my sweet needs freshening. Now." She'd rush up, heart pounding, only to find him lounging in a robe, scotch in hand, watching her bend over to dust. His eyes lingered too long, making her skin crawl. One afternoon, during a staff meeting, he publicly humiliated her. The housekeepers were gathered in the basement break room, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Hale stormed in, face red. Who the hell left fingerprints on the penthouse windows? Elena had cleaned them that morning. I did, sir. But I polished them twice." He sneered. "Twice looks like a kindergartner did it. You're on probation. One more screw-up, and you're out." The room went silent. Tears stung her eyes, but she held them back. Later, in the locker room, she punched her locker. "Bastard," she whispered. Her life outside work was no escape. Boyfriends came and went, guys from the neighborhood who promised the world but delivered excuses. Her last one, Javier, had ghosted her after borrowing money for business. Friends were scarce, most were too busy surviving. Nights off, she'd walk along Lake Michigan, the wind whipping her hair, dreaming of a life where she wasn't just surviving. But Hale's shadow loomed. He'd leave notes in his suite: "Bed not made tight enough. Fix it." Or call down to the front desk: "Send that Mexican girl up. She's the only one who does it right." The irony burned. One evening, after a double shift, she collapsed on her bed, phone buzzing. It was her aunt in Mexico. "Elena, Mija, we need more for your cousin's surgery." She wired what she could, leaving her account at 47.32. How much longer could she take this winter hit Chicago like a fist, snow blanketing the streets in dirty white? The hotel buzzed with holiday parties, corporate galas where champagne flowed and deals were sealed in back rooms. Elena worked overtime, her hands chapped from bleach. Hale was in rare form. His company was acquiring a rival chain, and stress made him vicious. He'd snap at everyone, but Elena bore the brunt. "You're slow today," he'd say, watching her scrub. "Pick up the pace, or I'll find someone younger." Younger. The word stung. She was 22, but felt 40. One day, she snapped back. He was berating her over a wrinkled sheet. "If it's not good enough, do it yourself," she muttered under her breath. He heard. "What did you say?" "Nothing." She apologized, but his eyes narrowed. "Watch your mouth, girl. I own you here." That night, she cried in the shower, hot water mixing with tears. She needed to quit, but where fast food another hotel, the cycle never ended for people like her. It was a Friday in late January, the city gripped by a polar vortex. Winds howled outside, rattling the Grand Tower's windows. Elena was on the night shift, covering for a sick colleague. The hotel was half empty, guests hunkered down. At 11 p.m. her pager buzzed: "Penthouse suite. Immediate service." Hale. Her stomach dropped. She rode the elevator up, card in tow. The doors opened to the opulent floor, crystal chandeliers, gold-trimmed walls. Hale's suite was at the end, door ajar. She knocked softly. "Housekeeping." "Come in," his voice boomed. He was alone, tie loosened, shirt unbuttoned, a bottle of whiskey on the table. Papers scattered, deal documents, she guessed. His face was flushed, eyes bloodshot. Clean this mess, he ordered, gesturing vaguely. She started with the bathroom, heart racing. He followed, leaning in the doorway. You know, Elena, you've got potential. But that attitude. I don't have an attitude, sir. He laughed. See, there it is. Feisty. I like that. She ignored him, wiping the sink. But he stepped closer, the scent of alcohol heavy. You've been here what, 6 months? Bet you're tired of this shit job. Yes, sir, she said, edging away. He blocked her path. I could help you. Promote you. Or, make things worse. Her pulse thundered. I just want to do my job. He grabbed her arm, not hard, but firm. Relax. Have a drink. No, thank you. She pulled away, but he didn't let go. The room spun. He was stronger, pushing her toward the bedroom. Don't fight it, sweetheart. It's just one night. Panic surged. Stop. Please. But he didn't. His hands were everywhere, tearing at her uniform. She fought, nails scratching, but he pinned her down on the king-sized bed, the city lights mocking her from the window. It was over quickly, brutal and terrifying. He whispered threats in her ear. Scream, and you're fired. Deported, maybe. Who'd believe a maid over me? When it ended, he rolled off, breathing heavy. Elena curled up, sobbing silently, body aching. He stood, zipping his pants. Here. He tossed a wad of cash on the bed. 5,000, crisp hundreds. For your trouble. Keep your mouth shut, and there's more where that came from. Disturb me, and I'll ruin you. She didn't move until he left for the bar downstairs, but his smirk said otherwise. Months passed. Spring thawed the city, but Elena's heart stayed frozen. She saved the money, plus tips, dreaming of escape. Maybe move to California, start over. But Hale wasn't done. He'd call her up occasionally, not for sex, but to remind her. Good girl, keeping quiet. One night, during a storm, he summoned her again. Fear gripped her, but she went needing the job. This time, he was drunker, angrier. A deal had fallen through. He ranted, then lunged. She fought harder, grabbing a lamp, smashing it on his head. He staggered, blood trickling. You bitch! He roared. She ran, down the stairs, out into the rain. Elena didn't go home. She went to a women's shelter, spilling everything to a counselor. He raped me. Paid me off. The counselor nodded. We believe you. Let's get help. They connected her to a lawyer pro bono, a fierce woman named Sarah who specialized in these cases. Hale's got a pattern, Sarah said. We've heard stories. Elena filed a report. The police were skeptical at first, but evidence mounted bruises documented, the money as proof of hush payment. Media caught wind. CEO accused of assault on hotel employee. Protests outside the Grand Tower. Hale denied it, calling her a gold digger. But more women came forward, former secretaries, interns. The trial was a circus. Elena testified, voice steady, he treated me like trash, then took what he wanted. The jury convicted him guilty of assault, battery. He got 10 years, his empire crumbling. Elena used the settlement to go to nursing school. She healed, slowly, the scars fading but never gone. In the end, the poor girl from Pilsen rose, while the CEO fell into shadows.